Hey, everybody. I'm a bit early, but whatever. You got people there in chat, so can I keep you waiting for much longer. Let me know if I'm loud enough. I don't know, for some reason I have like some doubt today. Hello, crafting gamer, and hello, insert name here. We're saying that I'm about to do some veil homoeroticism fetishism incoming. Well, that's not really the take I want to take about because I want to talk about the Conan movie, the Conan the Barbarian from 1982 by John Milius, because our friend Shadow from Shadow and Son was going around trashing the movie lately, and I cannot stand for it. He's allowed to have his own opinion of the movie, like that doesn't bother me. It's just like it's just a movie, like and it's not my movie. So, but I wanted to talk about why it's one of my favorite movie, and I wanted to talk about why I do like it so much. And it's because I think it's a smart movie. At first glance, when you look at it, it just look like, oh, it's a big barbarian guy, sword and sorcery movie, kind of stupid thing that just look for the violence and the big muscle. And I think that's not it. I think like the Conan movie is a much better movie than this type of movie has any right to be. You're not watching uh like Beastmaster. You're not watching those, like, you're not watching Conan the Destroyer. And a lot of people say like, oh, the Conan movie wasn't faithful to the book and stuff like that. And I think that's not right. I think the Conan movie was, it did take a lot of liberties, and it made some departure from the books. That is true. That's absolutely true. But I think in spirit, it's quite in the spirit of Conan, and I'll tell you why. I'm just gonna say hi to people. Hello, Justin. Nice seeing you. Hello, Angar. GM Johnny. Thank you for joining. So if you like, and when I say the book, I'm talking about the story wrote by Robert E. Howard. I read them all. I read none of the comics, and I read none of the stories written by somebody else. But if you read when you read the Howard novels, what makes Conan special is not a chosen one. He wasn't born special. He got like he's a brownie guy, he's strong and stuff like that, but that's not what makes him special. What makes him special is his willpower. Hey Charlotte, nice seeing you live. Well, live during the day. I see you all the time when I do the warband stuff. But yeah, Conan it's his willpower that make him special. He got a will of steel. He imposes his will on the world. The first story that was published was King Conan, when he, by this axe I rule, was the title, if I remember correctly. And even that's like kind of the high point of like Conan's life, when he made himself a king. But that's the important point. He made himself a king. He wasn't born a king. He wasn't made a king by some other mean. He was just a regular guy that set his mind to something and accomplished it. Charlotte say Conan was just a regular guy that refused to be broken by the harsh society around him. Yeah, that's a big point. Like, and I think the movie really make a nice point of that. And you can know that the movie is going to be like a philosophical one, because it opens with the Nietzsche's quote: "What doesn't kill you make you stronger," and that's a theme we can see in the movie a lot. The Even in the at the beginning of the movie, like the theme of the riddle of steel goes throughout the movie, because at the start of the movie, hello, I'm nice seeing you, Shadow, because I'm now doing a defense of Conan because of you. In the riddle of steel is is expressed in the beginning of the movie, and the father say, you can trust steel. Men will betray you and stuff like that, but this you can trust. But despite having the sword, the father get killed, and at some point the sword is broken. So is the steel so strong? Later on in the movie, Tulsa Doom says, I was foolish when I was young. I was obsessed with steel. I wanted the strength of steel, but then I realized that flesh is strong. But then, like, the Tulsa Doom got his head chopped off. It's gonna be spoiler if you haven't seen the movie. It's fucking 40-year-old, 41-year-old. Anyway, the Tulsa Doom got his head chopped off, even by the broken steel. So is the flesh what is strong? And at the end of the movie, after like Conan cut the head with the chop of steel, you see him like sit down on the stair and start pondering. And the answer to the riddle of steel, many people don't get it, is that it's not because like Tusadum say, what is steel without the arm that wields it? That's part of the answer. But what is the strength of the arm without the will to wield the sword? And that's the real answer. It's not the steel that is strong. It's not the flesh that is strong. It's the will that is strong, the willpower. And that's really in the spirit of Conan, because that's what Conan is about. He's about willpower. And that's evident in the book as well. And in the book, yes, like Conan hasn't served like for years, was taken as a kid to be put on the wheel of pain. That's not in the books. In the books, he was a raider when he was a teenager. But what is in the book is that even when the body is controlled, the will stays strong, and that's an important part, and that's what you see with the opening with the Wheel of Pain. At first, there's many people on the wheel, and then there's fewer and fewer people, and it's because like a lot of people like probably died, or like, and when you die because you kind of give up, because like the wheel is not going to kill you yourself. Why the wheel is killing you is because it's killing your will. And Conan didn't get killed. Conan did persevere. And because the will was strong and he kept pushing, the body got strong. And it's the same thing when then he's sold as a gladiator. He's being put to those brutal trial, but his will remained unbroken. And then when he can finally get his freedom, then he's free to go impose his will on the world. And that's what he does. He go for revenge. And let's see what the chat's saying. Jacobite wise men say, how do you square Conan with Catholic belief concerning the nude woman? It's the movie. Is there that many nude human? Like, I don't know. Maybe also because like I'm not American, so we're not like as shocked by nudity. You know, we still have like this French side. You know, it's the body. It's the human. It's like God's creation. I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much, to be honest. It's not like a. Like I often say that Conan is a good example, even though he's not a moral character. This strength of will is a good example for the youth. It's much better than any like fucking superheroes like that are just born, because like you're never gonna be Batman, you're never gonna be Superman, because those things don't exist. But you could be Conan. You can get very strong if you need the will to go lift the iron and get the body strong. You can refuse to be broken. You can refuse to bend the knee when people try to force things on you. That's something you can achieve. So because it's not like fantastical. Conan is not a fantastical hero. He's a regular guy. So it's something that you can aspire to, and you should. But yeah, he's not a moral character. So if you can have like mixed both, it's like it can be a good model, but don't take him all as a model. You know what I mean? Like go look for something else as well. Angar say, what doesn't kill you make you stronger or mess you up for the rest of your life? Well, yeah, it's messes you up. It depends, because if you see stronger just as physically stronger, then yeah, it can mess you up, or even with trauma and stuff like that. But if you can overcome it, because when you resolve it, like for physical stuff, yeah, you can get injured, and then yeah, you're not going to be stronger, but you can be stronger in your will, in your in your mind, when you get like stuff that is traumatic, it can also fuck you up for the rest of your life. But then it's not resolved. If you manage to resolve it, if you manage to resolve the trauma, then you're stronger. That's what the quote kind of mean. You have to look at it as in a broader sense. Hello, Flady. Nice seeing you. Charlotte say Conan would want you all to like the stream and to hack the algorithm. If you want, do as you will. Justin say, I'm just saying Conan's people made really shitty sword. Conan's people made really shitty sword. Well, they were barbarian. Like Conan's exceptional, but the is different. Like he's different than his people, and that's something like when you see in the story, like it's always about what he wants to do. Except like there's one that Howard wrote that kind of missed the mark, where like this priestess that just go out in the street and she's told by the oracle like, oh, find the first man you find to lead your army, and then she run to Conan. So I think Howard really missed the mark with that story, because like it's okay, but I think that this is like a kind of a go up against what Conan is about, because now it's just like the end of fate that shine onto Conan, and just like, well, that's not what it is. It's not what it's supposed to be. Conan is supposed to it's not supposed to be about the end of fate. It's about he is making his path. Flady say Conan was a different and early cinematic take on the philosopher king ideal. Yeah, and even like Conan is never portrayed as dumb, but he's not an intellectual. He's a man of action. But and he's learning a lot. In the book, that's apparent as well. I think even in the film, they kind of showed that a bit. But a film you can show less. So of course, there's going to be like a little more that's going to be abstracted. Justin saying the context of Conan's character would be far closer to the book if there had just been a couple of frames of him being a raider and getting captured before being put on the wheel. He could have done like an origin story. To be honest, that doesn't bother me too much, because like I said, it's a movie. Like they didn't know, like they weren't making a series. It wasn't be a trilogy or anything like that. So they kind of took a shortcut because they wanted to express an idea, and that's what I'm interested about. Like, you know, I'm saying like it's in the spirit of Conan. It's not like, yeah, they did take a departure from the story, and I admit that. But I think the lesson you learn from the novel of Howard's are the same that are depicted in the movie, and for me that's more important. That's something when I talk about RPG, I talk a lot about, you know, I talk about the interesting question, you know, like the like, don't have your game just be about killing orcs. Like, try to have some moral quandary in it. I think that's much more interesting. Some people don't like it, and if you don't, well, that's your deal. And also when I say that, I say like, you want your game to have like some more moral quandary, but don't just make it don't make it about that. You know, the game still need to be enjoyable outside of that. Like the Conan movie is still an enjoyable movie outside of the philosophical like musing. You know, I think that's important. Charlotte say, I'm not shocked by nudity, and I think I'm about as American as this get. Yeah, but I know it's just like something like some people are, you know, just like we're much more liberal about it. I think the human body is beautiful. Yeah, not at least maybe some of them, not all of them, can be beautiful. Elon Musk is Batman and Iron Man. That'd be basic. How goes the painting? Yeah, Charlotte, you're supposed to paint on stream, no? Jacobite Wise Man said, yes, but nudity in movie often lead to lust is the problem. That's why the old days people in Europe and the Orient wore more clothes. Yeah, I think it's done too much nowadays, and sometimes it's done like for me it's a lot of a matter of context. It's quite a matter of context in the way it's done. If it serves the story, if it's of a purpose. Like a lot of time nowadays we see like kind of like a gratuitous nudity, and that annoys me. Just like, well, you're just going for shock value. You're just trying to go after the loss of people. If you're telling a story and it's kind of part of the story, and in Conan it is, because it's a more barbaric civilization, so you would expect them to be a little more debauched. So I think in that case it served the purpose. But yeah, it's quite reliant on the context for me. Angar, I agree that the human body is beautiful. They were poor casting still. Well, in the movie, like the way they show, like if you know anything about making sword, like that, you don't fucking melt the sword. You don't cast a sword. Otherwise, you would have like a cast iron sword, not a steel sword. Charlotte says the most expensive we have in art, the most expensive, the human body, especially in the Renaissance art. Jacobite Whitman, I prefer the book as much as I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The books are. I really love the Howard story. I think to be honest, I think he's a very good writer. I think he's very efficient with his words. He goes to the point. You get the feeling of action. He doesn't like put too much description. So I do like the books a lot. They're among my favorite stories. So yeah, Shadow, I did read the books. Justin say, the way it's always come off to me is Conan was captured as a child and had been on the wheel the whole time. That's how it's depicted, and that's the thing. Like, it's you have to think about what it's trying to say when it is like he is being on the wheel for what, maybe 10 years, 15 years, whatever. But and that goes with the quote at the beginning. It didn't kill him, it made him stronger. That's what it expressed by that. That's part of the idea. And he didn't give up. He didn't got his will broken. That's what made him exceptional. Where other people, you see, they slowly went away. He kept pushing, and that's it's almost like akin to the myth of Sisyphus, that has to roll a big boulder on top of a hill, and every time it reached the top of the hill, the boulder rolled back down. It's the same idea. Like you face adversity, you keep pushing, keep fucking pushing that wheel, man. Charlotte say, I prefer the book as well. The movie took Cole the Conqueror origin story. Oh yeah, well, Conan was kind of like a rewriting of Cole, wasn't it? Bill, cool. I didn't miss it. I like Conan, even the movie. Great topic. Thank you. I hope that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, like, this movie, like, and I'm gonna talk about the other movie that they made later because they missed the mark. I'm just gonna go through the chat. The Conan books were in part adapted from American Pioneer Tale. So the world of Conan is basically primordial fantasy America. I thought it was like, it's mostly like in Europe, because you see all those part of the, well, there's part of it because like the Pict are kind of like Native American, but a lot of the place are like one of it is well, it's the Mediterranean region before the Mediterranean was a sea, so you kind of like a little lake there. But the Hyperborean continent, like it's really based into kind of mythical Europe before it was before the Atlantis sank. The Conan insert name here. The Conan Unchained documentary reveal a lot of the storyteller John Milius motivation. Milius nor the story crafting idea share in that piece are stupid. It's a thought out film. Yeah, that's what I like so much about this film. Like I said, it's much better than any of those kind of movie have a right to be, because like it's a movie that will make you think. And that's often what I talk about when I was doing a video about fixing dragons, and I say like have them mean something. I think thinking about the meaning of stuff is interesting. It's something that if you don't do that, we're kind of like missing out on something in a way. Because like, yeah, just like rolling dice and having this action and just the action for action's sake will hit you on a certain level, But if it's action that is good on its own sake, but there's also some kind of like philosophical depth behind it, then you're reaching a multiple level. Charlotte say to Shadow and Sun, I'll still get some brush and paints. Well, get on it, girl. He's on the wheel, just isn't trying. That's what the movie depict. Ongar say, I love the Conan books, but the characters Subutai, Thief, and Archer is the best sidekick in any movie, and that is still Ayala will die on. Subutai was cool, and even the conversation they had about the god and stuff like that, that's interesting. It's fucking good dialogue. It's a well written movie. It's not a stupid movie at all. Freddy say, aren't we all on the wheel of pain of sort our entire life? So could it have been a metaphor for life itself and all the tougher life can be beneficial if you maintain your spirit? Yeah, I think that's part of it. I would say like we're all on the wheel of pain because some people have it easier than other. But when you end up on the wheel of pain, that's the metaphor. Just fucking keep pushing, and you're gonna get out of here at some point. And you're gonna get out of here like stronger, and just being stronger is maybe is gonna get you out of here. Pointless labor. Finally, the work itself is the goal. Yeah, I think we need a purpose as people as well. But when there's a lack of purpose, and that's the point of the myth of Sisyphus, it's meaningless work that is never going to be complete, never going to be achieved. So the way to revolt against that is to embrace the work. Otherwise, you're going to be fucking depressed and you're going to die. So, and that's the same thing when you're going to be sent to the, when I shouldn't say you, when we or I will be sent to the gulag, the way to, they try to break your spirit. So the way to revolt against that is to not have your spirit broken and to try to find the pleasure in it, in the work, enjoy it. That's a big lesson for it. So yeah, when we get put on the wheel of pain, enjoy the pushing. See how fast you can push it, how much you know. Bill Wildfong say, Pish, I knew Conan Exiles was wrong. Break a trial in only a week. That takes a decade if you're doing it right. Yeah, but it's I assume that most people would be broken pretty fast, because also it's even though you haven't been pushing the wheel for a week, it's not about the time you have been pushing the wheel. It's about the perceived time that you will be pushing the wheel. So after a week that you've been pushing a wheel and you're fucking tired and you think, oh, now I'm gonna do that for my whole fucking life. Fuck it, I'm giving up. That's what it gets out of people. So that's something to consider as well. Most people, like, it's not about just the time you've been pushing, but the time you perceive that you will be pushing. And that's where the strength comes from. The strength of will is saying, you know what, we don't know. I'm gonna keep pushing. Look for what happened next. Charlotte say, I think the implication with the wheel of pain in the movie is that all the others were broken by the wheel and became servant of or minor. I think, or they became like dedicated slave, because when your will is broken, maybe because like I say, oh, maybe they die or they give up, is the same thing in that context. Maybe some of them I've been taken to be slave, and now they're gonna be obedient slave their whole life because they don't want to be put on the wheel of don't want to be put back on the wheel of pain. So you break somebody's spirit, they're basically dead. Cimmeria is an ancient map. Oh, is it? Yeah, Howard like that took inspiration from a lot of old myth and stuff like that. You can recognize Bill with Fung if you're playing Conan. What server are you on? Yeah, Ungar and Justin are on a private server. Every time I hear actions, 5 push-up. Did I say action a lot? Did I just add like 10 push-up now? Defense of this movie rocks. I watch it at least once a year. That's the right attitude, Mage. You're right there. But like as I say, it's a like. Do you watch Conan the Destroyer once a week? Do you watch the Beastmaster once a year? Do you watch all those other like sword and sorcery movie that kind of came in the same time? I don't know why I cannot think of other one now. You don't watch them so often, I assume. I don't anyway, because they don't have this. They don't hit you in the same. They're not like thought-provoking movie. They're just like silly adventure. He used European influence, but according to interview, his goal was to create kind of a mythology of for North America, sort of like, oh, I didn't know that I never heard of this interview. I should look into that. The whole Wheel of Pain ruins the art of Conan's saga. Conan was born and raised in battle, not forced to work out like Ivan Drago in the Rocky movie. The Conan movies, anything but actually Conan. You're wrong, man. You just fucking don't get it. Like the born in battle. What does born in battle mean? Born in battle is born in adversity. It's like having a tough life. It's not like born in battle, like, oh, I'm 6-year-old and I'm a king of the battlefield. That wasn't Conan. He came from a violent place, and you see that where he came from a barbarian people. Is when he's a kid, born in battle is metaphoric. It's Conan become Conan in battle. That's what it is. It's and Conan become Conan when he witnessed his mother getting killed. He's just a child before that. That's when Conan is born, because it's not born like coming out of your mother. It's born when you become who you are. You can be born multiple times in your life. Like, it's like the born again, but like in the more philosophical sense. That's when Conan become who he is. And the battle can be internal. That's it's the whole thing about it's not about like swinging a sword. That's not what it's about. It's about not being broken. That's what Conan's about. REH. Robert E. Howard didn't think of the Iborian world with much rigor. He threw it in like a scene background character. It worked for the yarns. He was pioneering world building, so I don't hold it against him. Well, I think that's all. I like when a story. That's something I complain a lot. Like a lot of the fantasy stuff, they like people created this big world, and that's something that a lot of people are guilty in RPG. People build this big world, and then the world become the star of the show instead of the character being the star. Like, the world should be there in the background, a place for the character to act, but the protagonist should be the star of the show. You won't go alone on the hill. Sabutai was cool. Yeah. Sabutai was a man. Mage Musing say, I mean, Oliver Stone co-wrote this mofo. Now, as an adaptation of Conan, I'm not one to speak, but many adaptations skew away from the source. Some work, some don't. This movie work in isolation. And okay, I'm gonna talk. There's a lot of comment. I want to talk about because we talk about the adaptation of the source. If you look at Conan the Destroyer, that also like the sequel, it's not a good movie, because they completely missed the mark, because that movie is not in the spirit of Conan. Because Conan is forced to go on this quest. He worked for somebody else. He doesn't work for himself. There's this kind of like a bigger story of like save the world story. Like Conan's biggest achievement was making himself king. Other than that, all the story of Conan were personal story. And in the original movie, 1982, it is a personal story. And they completely missed the mark with the sequel, because they just made, there's no question there. It's just like, oh, you just look at that, you go on an adventure. There's no like physical implication. There's no thought-provoking anything. And that movie really missed the mark of Conan. It really missed the mark of what Conan's about. Even though, like, if you watch it as a standalone movie and you don't get like and it's just like a picture of you don't have the origin of Conan, so you can take it from what it is in the book. But this movie, this story that's told there, wouldn't fit in the book. So that's a big miss on the mark. If you take it as standalone, that's not a Conan movie. It's just like a sword and sorcery movie with the name Conan attached to it, because it would be because of the success of the first movie. But the guy that wrote that movie and directed it really didn't get it. I know I'm at least on one watch list. Embrace your inner planet and all shall be fine. I've only seen like the first Hellraiser, I think, and it's been a while. The will show the rarity of Conan's might and will. Yeah, that's what I think that was a way. And you might think, oh, that was a way to make it short and make it because it's just like a few scene. It's a scene. It's one scene basically, but in a montage. Like it's done in a clever way. It's to say like it cannot be broken. You got strong spirit. In the video game, you're expected to find an NPC and have them move the wheel until the wheel is broken and they become a troll that you can have work for you in castle. Yeah, that's what the wheel I think is about. I think in the game they kind of got that right. Of course, for the game purpose, you have to make it short, and you would have like different people like push the wheel in different time. I haven't seen Bean I haven't seen Bean Master. I haven't seen Beastmaster or Conan the Destroyer in 30 years. You see, that's what I'm saying. They're not as kino as the Barbarian. Flades, it would be terrible to admit I have never made it through this whole movie, but used to love Beast. You should give it another watch then. If you haven't watched the whole like Conan the Barbarian, give it another watch and look at him with this of the meaning of what's happening, of the implications, stuff like that. And I love Beastmaster too as a kid, but you know, it's not a movie that I'm gonna regularly watch as an adult, except maybe like as a lark or stuff like that. Like just like, oh, I'm gonna play it like in the background while I do something else. Another one to watch every year is The Princess Bride. This one like didn't impress me that much. I should rewatch it, but when I was a kid, it didn't impress me as much. You forgot Og the Slayer. That's another one that I remember seeing it, but I don't remember much about it. I remember like a Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer I thought was pretty good. Eloy says Conan is an excellent movie. It's a completely different interpretation of the character, but it's good in its own way. I like both book Conan and movie Conan. Well, I don't know if you just joined, but that was my point. Like, is that I think there's a different backstory to Conan in the movie, but I think in spirit, as a hero of will, as a character that is driven by his willpower, and that what makes him exceptional is his exceptional willpower, that he cannot be broken, and he make his own pattern in life. I think they nailed that right in the movie. Dog Soldier I watch annually. Then and Equilibrium, man, those movies I saw, I remember I enjoy. I haven't seen, but I saw like maybe once or twice, and I haven't seen them again. The purpose of Charles is to be half-naked woman, not do stuff. One of the best sword and sorcery movies. Yeah, I think it is the best. I think it is the best sword and sorcery movie because it is more than just a sword and sorcery movie. The books are Conan. The movie is someone else named Conan. Well, if you wanna, I cannot argue with that. You know, that's a fair point to say because like they did take like I said, they gave him a different backstory, which movie often do. Sometimes for brevity, sometimes they're gonna try to condense stuff a bit. But I think like the someone else named Conan is still very Conan-esque. It's still like very Conan in spirit. That's what I'm saying here. Eloy say, and you're right, Conan Barbarian is very well executed film. Each battle is choreographed. Cinematography is much better than a similar film of the era. Great SFX, great location, and great writing. Yeah, yeah. I think it's hitting on all the mark there. Destroyer is a much funnier movie, but most of the love come from at the movie expense, and that's unfortunate. You know, like I said, it's a watchable movie, but is it a rewatchable movie? You know, like not so much. Conan Destroyer is trash. It's odd garbage. Yeah, and they came with this big success, and they just like completely like they didn't understand. I could say the same thing about the Dune book. You know, the first Dune book was a big success, but Frank Herbert didn't understand why, or he understood why, but he didn't like it. So he spent like the rest of the books trying to deconstruct what he created by accident. But anyway, that's maybe a topic for a different day. One day I'll make a Dune stream sequel for more money. Yeah. I've seen them in the last 3 years. James said he also learned for the pleasure of woman when he was bred with the fine when he was bred with the finest stock. Yeah, that's good for him. That's when he cut a break. Thirsty James entered the chat. Dear promise, I was kingdom. I don't get their promise. I was kingdom. I don't get that one. I don't get that one, Mage. You got me stunned there. Anyway, that's what I want to talk about. I think I'm gonna wrap it here. I've been a bit longer than a lot of chat engagement. I've been a bit longer. What I want to talk about? Yeah, the other movie on the. Should I talk about the 2011 Momoa movie? Again, they felt obliged to add this big save the world plot. Like, oh, he's getting this ancient artifact first. Like, I don't know, just like why can't Hollywood make personal story anymore? You know what I mean? Like just like a guy having something that affect him personally. Like why does that always have to be like bigger in scope? Man, they I don't know. I don't get why they don't like oh, we're not gonna care if it's just like the personal story of somebody we can relate to. They always have to make the scope bigger and bigger. So Momoa's movie also fucking missed the plot, and it's also not a movie that is thought provoking at all. You're just like, it's just a ride, you know. You sit there and you look at the big muscularity and then that's supposed maybe Hollywood thinks like people are very fucking idiot, which maybe it's fair, but I think if you want to reach a bigger portion of the audience, you can make the movie that's going to be pleasing for the people that just look for the big bulging muscle and the action scene and the violence. But if you throw in something else that is a little thought provoking, then you can reach a broader audience. You know, people that are a little more awake, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it here. I think that I hope I made my point. What I say, like, yeah, they did give Conan a different backstory, but I think it is in a way like if not the same character, a very very similar character, like because it is correct in spirit. It's a guy that got in the world, imposed his own will in the world, and even like I said, the first story that was published of Conan was Conan the Barbarian that made himself king, and that's an important point that is like driven again in the story and in the further story. Conan goes from different adventure to different adventure because he want to do something, then he gets bored, do something. He's a very active protagonist. He's not being pushed around by the world. He's not a reactive character. He's an active character. He is driving the plot. He is not being driven by the plot. And as when Conan is free, that's you see that he goes after his revenge. He still got this idea, and even in the books, that's something that he often repeats, like, "Oh, one day I'm gonna make myself king." You know, it's something it's in the back of his mind, and you know he can do it. And when he decides to set his mind to it, you know, he's not trying to do it right now, but he say one day maybe I will, and one day we know that he did, because the first story that we got is after he did, and the whole rest of the story were kind of flashback. Oh, and also there's a version. I think there's a version of the movie that after like Conan killed Tulsadum with a broken sword and threw the head down, and he sat on the stair, and then he ponder, and then there's like this Conan, like the narration with that's the theatrical version. But I think they made a version of the movie where there's an extra scene there after he cut the head and throw it out, and before like and then he made himself king, and the narration. There's an extra scene that has been included in some edit of the movie where you see Conan walk away on the horse with the princess, and I think this was a fucking stupid move. I don't like. That's probably like something to say, oh, we need to show Conan getting the girl. That's again like somebody that don't fucking get the point of the movie. Because now you just make it like, oh, he killed his enemy and he got the girl, and then the story is finished and is nice and wrapped up. It leaves you with the wrong impression. finishing the movie with Conan sitting on the step and thinking, put the highlight back on the riddle of steel and say that's what you need to think about what is the sword, the steel is strong, the flesh is weak. What is the steel without the flesh that wield it? But the flesh can be cut by the steel. So what matter? That's what Conan thinks about there, because he chop off the head with the broken sword. So even like something that has been broken can still be useful in a way too. But there's an important point as well there. But then you look and then that's when you're supposed to think about, like, what is Conan thinking about now? And I think what he's thinking about is this: is the steel strong? Is the flesh strong? And maybe you will understand. No, it's the will that is strong. Mage Musing say yes. In the alternate cut, King Ostric's daughter is shown leading him into Doom's temple, and he carries her away. Yeah, and I think like that cut, I wouldn't say ruined the movie, but it kicked it down quite a few notch, because then you're just like you kind of like get away from the philosophical nature of the movie. I'm sure John Milius was not happy about that. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up now. I don't know if Hungar went live. I'm sorry I step on him. Oh, that's something I need to talk about as well. A few things. I'm probably gonna change. I'm probably gonna change the day I stream on, because I don't want to step on Hungar anymore, and I don't want people to have to choose between listening to me or listening to him. And also, it's gonna say like, well, on Monday and Wednesday you can and Friday you can watch Hungar, and I'll probably stream on Tuesday and Thursday. Maybe I'll change more because like it's summer and I have work to do. But and on Friday I'm probably gonna have like for a little while I might have like those recorded video. I want to do some more how to play video. I got a few more coming up, but those you can watch whenever you want. They're just pre-recorded. And also another thing I need to say, on a Saturday I'm gonna have a new RPG design talk with Alexander Macris from Adventurer Conqueror King. So we're gonna talk about his approach, Adventure Conqueror King and Ascendant, and we're gonna talk about his approach to game design and how to go from an idea to have a published book. So that's gonna be on Saturday, on the 22nd at 1500 EDT, so that's 3 p.m. Eastern time from American. So join us then as well. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So thank you for watching, and thank to what is best in insert name here. Say what is best in life. It's can I do that out of memory? I don't think I can write on stream now out of memory. What is best in life? To crush your enemy, to see them during them, and to hear the lamentation of their woman. Is that it? I think that's it. Crush your enemy, see them driven before you, hear the lamentation of their woman. Do the Arnie accent. Crush your enemy, see them driven before you. I cannot do an Arnold accent. Check to see if there's any block message from me. I don't think there is. I'll check. My stupidest message errored out. Lol, nothing of value lost. Yeah, YouTube is too touchy. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. And block message from me. Man, why is that? Maybe I need to look on the option to. I don't know if there's an option to make YouTube a little more permissive. I'm not a censorship guy, but. Hungar canceled the show today because he doesn't want to tell everyone he's playing dating simulator on Steam. All right, then. If he's enjoying himself. All right, catch you all later, guys. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the people that watch later on. And let me know down below if you think I'm wrong. We have the answer section down below there for that. So tell me I'm a big fat piece of shit full of crap. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Take care.